This
Great
was
also with the sound, though, just the way that buzz
Yeah, yeah.
drops out like that.
people don't use sound the way you can. I think.
No, someone who's really good with sound, I think, is David Lynch.
Oh well, clearly.
I mean, just
yeah.
does amazing stuff. I saw just recently the Blue Velvet. He's retrospective at
Right.
LACMA and saw Blue Velvet. And just the
Oh, amazing! Alan
amazing
Splett
stuff.
used
Yeah,
to
he
do
does
amazing stuff.
great
But you
stuff
know
with
who's good
sound.
too is Friedkin. There's a great his sound on all his movies is really detailed and interesting. And there's that great moment in To Live and Die in L.A. when William Peterson is that chase where he and John Pankow are going the wrong way on the freeway.
Right.
And he drops all the sound out, and you just hear William Peterson breathing.
Right,
and it's a
right.
great sort of abstract moment, but it works
Yeah.
perfectly. And I ended up stealing that idea on King of the Hill when the kid's graduating and you just hear the piano playing and you don't hear any voices as they're announcing the kids to come up and people are clapping.
Right.
I dumped all of that out because I always try when I'm in post. I'll look at a scene and if there's music or effects or dialogue, I'll always experiment. Okay, take all the effects out,
Yeah.
or take all the dialogue out, or dump the music. Let's see how it plays.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like you never know.
Sound I love. Music I've always been suspect of, that you're doing something, you're forcing the audience. I mean, editing already I think of as a lie in a way. It's a great lie.
Yeah.
But it's forcing people to look at this or that even more so than you already are with the frame. You're saying now look at I'm going to shift the perspective within that and music often is saying I think this is sad, so you'll all think it's sad, and putting that on there and
Yeah, I think
I've
it depends on the emotion you're trying to evoke. I mean, in the case of Sex Lies, initially.
This is very spare, though.
Oh, it is. There's not a lot of music in it, and the music that's in it is very sort of unobtrusive. I tempt it with all these Eno tracks, and Cliff Martinez. I basically said I avoid a lawsuit, but I'd like something that sounds very much like this.
It was funny when you said Graduate, because the opening music, which is kind of atypical for the rest of the film, had that sense. When you mentioned it finally, I thought, oh, convertible, and there's that great guitar
right,
sound,
that's
and the
true.
way it slows down when the camera's slowing down. I thought that's interesting that you make that reference. Yeah, there's a lot of, I don't know how you like his work, but to me, an Americanized, Eric Romer,
Yeah.
in this.
It's funny. I have to say that prior to making this movie, I'd never seen a Romero film, so I was a little embarrassed when people made the comparison because I just have to nod and go, really? Well, that's really interesting.
Once I see one, I'll see if I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, I've since seen some, but and I know what everybody's talking about.
Yeah, it's just that sense of letting the characters set the pace a lot of times, the long takes, and there's not the music always driving that.
Right.
And it's just again sort of that.
But it's such a matter of degrees because I've made movies that I don't think work, and it's so easy on a movie if you drift off compass a couple of degrees. 30 days later, you're way off compass.
Yeah.
But you don't even know it, and you put the movie together, and it doesn't work, and you don't know where it went wrong. Which is why I keep saying, it's alchemy that you can't conjure. This movie could very easily, and for some people probably is, be torture to sit through. You wouldn't be interested in the characters because of something being not quite on. It's certainly riskier when you're making a movie like this because the potential for the audience to just go, I don't want to go, I don't want to be here, I don't like these people, is much greater than if you've got a movie where there's a lot of stuff going on.
I love it earlier when you see the beginnings of this sequence in her coming over and then going to black, and you go to that then you go outside and show the place. It's like, we're coming up on the Hal shot here before too long, but that's great. It's so nice, to do something that throws an audience's rhythm off a bit. What they've come to expect, not even I think necessarily what they want, but what they've just been taught. You're outside, you show the house as if you can't remember where they were.
Right.
They've got to see it again each time, but That was such a nice thing to go, and then to such an intimate moment inside, back in close up,
and you go, what the hell happened?
And the end of what's happened, and then we reveal this now.
I was a pathological liar.
Yeah, I mean, here I was just trying to break it up. You know, I broke the scene down into pieces and thought, okay, well, the first third of it I'll dolly this way, and the second third of it I'll do matching profiles, and the third part I'll jump the line and then go dolly back to the other side of the room. I mean, I just didn't know what else to do, and broke it up with these insert shots.
But then again, what I was talking about right there, you know, just the shine on his nose, everything. It's so real, rather than, you know, and at this distance, it really.
Well, you get into these funny arguments sometimes with discussions with makeup people, because I've had this experience so many times that after they've said, no, we're just going to put a little pan thing in, and it reflects the light, don't worry. And you look at them, and it makes whatever lines they have worse.
Everything, right.
It just is worse. And you see them with your eye, and you go, but they look better with nothing. And so I think in this case we really let him go.
I'm just not a fan of looping.
I avoid it at all costs. But Jimmy was so. We were talking before about the modulation of his voice. Jimmy was so quiet, and during this take that I wanted, the street turned out to be so noisy we couldn't dig it out, and it was really frustrating.
Stephen, I'd like to thank you for opportunity to sit through the film and chat about everything.
Everything but the film.
Everything but the film often, but it was a great pleasure to do Director's Dialogue.
Well, thanks. No, it was my desire to have someone else here with me. I don't think it would have been fun for me to do this alone. I hope those of you out there who were listening had fun. We did, but I hope we were able to impart some ideas about the process, which is our intent, just to demystify it a little bit so that you can go out and do it.